Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a good week so far, staying productive and staying strong. In this class, we are looking at a reading section. And hey, let's get a band 9, so let's aim for that maximum score. We will look at a couple of specific question types, including list of headings. This is a members chat class, of course. Everybody is welcome to watch. To become a member of our YouTube channel, simply click the join button next to the subscribe button. This class is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at IELTShelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have loads and loads of information to help you improve on all the modules of the IELTS exam: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Welcome, Janeel. Hi, Kyber. Hi, Angelo, Lizzie, Abhishek, David. Good to see many of our members joining in. While we wait for a few more members, here is our academic IELTS website here. It's with the blue background, and you can click this big red button to join the premium package. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access. We are an official British Council IELTS registration center and certified agents. This is our general IELTS website here with the green background. You can click this big red button here to join the premium package. Again, it's a one-time payment and it's well worth it. All right. If you don't have our apps yet, definitely download and install those. There's lots of good free materials there too, and they link to our websites: Academic IELTS Help for aehelp.com and General IELTS Help for gieltshelp.com. You can find those in your app stores. Angelo has a question. Angelo says, should we read the question first or the reading passage first? Because reading the passage first, then the questions wastes a lot of time, and I'm really struggling matching headings. Well, Angelo, perfect timing. We're going to be doing a list of headings today, and it depends on the question, Angelo. So some questions you read before the passage, some questions like true, false, not given, you only need to read after the passage, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. If anybody has questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. And we have more classes coming up tomorrow and the day after as well, on the 28th and the 29th. So make sure to hang around for those. And we will have a task 2 writing starting after this class also. So be ready for that. Okay, let's get into today's reading. So today's reading is coming from our third exam. It's reading passage 2. And this reading does start with a list of headings. Okay. All right. Liz is asking about our books on Amazon. Liz, those are our exam books. So this book that we're using right now, that's available on Amazon. So we have book 1 and book 2. Each of them have 3 full IELTS practice exams. Okay. All right, Kyber, that's good to hear. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Here we go. So Angelo, just kind of really pay attention to the steps here in the class, and that'll make more sense on what you should do. So this passage is why study philosophy, and then we have this picture here of perhaps a Greek philosopher. Perhaps it's Socrates, the famous philosopher. Okay, so why study philosophy? This is a question. It's the title of the passage. You should always pay attention to the title of the passage, as it will give you lots of important information about the content of the reading, and you should think about it critically. So you should ask yourself some key questions. In this case, you should ask yourself, what is philosophy? Okay. So hopefully you know this word philosophy. If you don't, you'll definitely have to do some more reading first. But again, questions are the way to start. So what is philosophy? All right. Any ideas? Janil, Kuldeep, welcome to the class. Kyber, if you consistently score 7 on your practice exams and that's your target score, then absolutely go for the real exam. Yeah. Okay. So, what is philosophy? What is the concept of philosophy? If a friend asked you to define philosophy, they said, "Hey, Janil, can you give me a definition for philosophy? I'm not exactly sure what this word means." How would you describe it in a simple way? So how would you define it in a simple way? Janil says, information about human behaviors, mental sometimes. I don't think so, Janil. I don't think that's the most accurate definition. Kuldeep says, study of human behavior. I would say that's more psychology, Kuldeep, than philosophy. Here we're talking about philosophy, not psychology. Psychology does come from philosophy, but it's not the same. Devansh says, in-depth knowledge of an idea. Kyber says, the study of the fundamental knowledge of human behavior. Kuldeep says, human physiology. No. I would say philosophy, if somebody asked me to define it, I would say it is the exploration of ideas and the search for truths through academic debate or discourse. Okay. So philosophy is the exploration of ideas and the search for truths through academic debate or discourse. So if me and Lizzie were sitting in a room and we were talking about globalization, whether it's good or bad, and Lizzie was telling me some points about why it's good, and I was counter-arguing Lizzie about why it might be negative for humanity, then we are in a discourse. We are in an academic debate, and we are seeking to explore the truths around globalization. So we would be philosophizing about globalization. That is philosophy. Okay? All right? Discourse here, Janil, basically means the academic argument, so the exploration of the idea. Okay? All right? So that is philosophy. So why would we study it? So now that we have an idea of what philosophy is, why would we study it? So why should people study philosophy? In your opinion, what's the logic behind it? What's the value of studying philosophy? Now, again, when you're sitting the IELTS exam and you read the title of a passage like this, okay, so why study philosophy? Especially when it's a question mark, you know very clearly that the goal of the passage will be to ask this question from you, the reader, and explore the concept behind it, right? So why would we study how to argue or how to explore human thinking? What would be the reason behind that? Okay, while you write your ideas, I'll do the same so we can get moving on this. So these would be some that would come to mind for me. So why should people study philosophy? In order to come up with some new ideas, perhaps, some new knowledge, in order to find out important truths. So human ethics, for example, moral values, in order to evolve human thinking and logic, to be able to improve our decision-making process, I think would be a good reason to study philosophy, right? Janil says to make certain changes and improvements in current situations to achieve more benefits. Absolutely, Janil. Yeah. So basically, when politicians are sitting in a room discussing social issues, they are modern day philosophers that are philosophizing about what's the situation and what's the best course of action, right? Honey, that's very clever to listen and understand the other person's perspective and to improve. Yeah, honey, simply put, to emphasize empathy, right? So to be able to empathize with others, to understand the world from another person's shoes, okay? Angela says to understand human feelings and thoughts. Absolutely, Angelo. Yeah, that would be a good reason too. So to empathize with other perspectives. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Now, how does the study of philosophy work? Okay, by learning about famous philosophers, by practicing academic debate. Okay, those would be the ones that come to mind. All right, so again, when you're in a reading passage and you get a title like this one, Why Study Philosophy? Very quickly in your head in the official exam, you should go through these questions and answers at home. You should, of course, write these down. If you don't know these, then you should do searches online. You should investigate. So if I don't know what philosophy is, even in my own language, I'm not too familiar, then this would be where I would go online and I would do a quick search and I would ask Mother Google, what is philosophy, and get some answers, and then think about how I can explain or express that in English. So I would write these down. It's a great way to improve your English, your thinking, your knowledge base, okay? For the academic IELTS, you do need a good knowledge base to get those high bands, the band 8, band 9 that we're talking about today. If you do know about philosophy, hey, great. Okay, so again, what is philosophy? Exploration of ideas, the search for truths. Why should people study it? To come up with new ideas, to make good decisions, to evolve human thinking, to be able to empathize with others. How does the study of philosophy work? By learning about famous philosophers' situations, by practicing it, by practicing academic debate. Yeah, Lizzie caught that Mother Google comment. All right. So now that we have this concept, now we want to look at the questions, okay? And Angelo, I hope you're still with us because I'm going to get into answering your question. So the first set of questions is the list of headings. And in the paper-based exam, you're going to see these statements for the list of headings before the passage, okay? Because basically here, the IELTS exam makers want you to read these questions before you read the passage. Okay, so the goal here is that some of these statements, some of them, will be the heading for each paragraph in the passage. Okay? And knowing this information will help you to have an overall understanding of the passage. Now, it's a little bit tricky because there are extra answers here that are wrong. Okay, so list of headings is the only question type with additional information that is okay to read before you read the passage. Okay, let me make a note on that for you. All right, so let me just change my scaling here a little bit. Okay, so list of headings questions you must read before the passage. Okay, these are the only question, or this is the only question type, I should say, that you should read before the passage, which contains incorrect information. Okay. What I mean by that, Angelo, and this is going back to your question, is you should not read questions like true, false, not given, or multiple choice answers that have lots of false or extra information that's not in the passage, or like matching sentence endings responses. Okay? Kashirsha is asking, is there still a given example in the list of headings on the actual exam? Yes, Kashirsha, there is. Yeah, you will see an example. Absolutely. Okay. So while you read the list of headings questions, you should paraphrase the statements on paper at home when practicing for IELTS, and in your head during the exam. Because in the exam you don't have enough time to do it on paper, okay? So you just have to quickly paraphrase as well as you can in your head. But at home when you're practicing, like what we're doing right now, we want to paraphrase each of these as we read them. So reason as the basis for knowledge, okay? If you can't paraphrase it, just go to the next one. If you can, great. So for this one, I would do something like logic is a foundation for information. Okay, so logic is foundation, or logic is fundamental for information. Reason as the basis for knowledge. The relation between reason and math. The connection between logic and numbers. And the reason I'm doing this paraphrasing is manifold, okay? One reason I'm doing this is to build my lexical resource, to build my understanding of the English language, to build my critical thinking. And of course, in the passage, you're not going to see these exact same words in the paragraphs. You're going to see the paraphrasing. And paraphrasing is key to success on the exam, okay? So the end goals of empirical pursuits, the final target for scientific study. Okay, so the end goals, empirical pursuits. Empirical means a logical system or a scientific method of learning. Okay, is Socrates a man or a mortal? Is this philosopher human or living? Philosophy as the pursuit of knowledge and truth. So philosophy's goal is to seek out the real knowledge or the real information. Math versus reason, arithmetic against logic, the differences, so the contrast, using the right tool, using the correct method, a central debate in education, the focus of discourse in pedagogy, the lack of practicality as philosophy's downfall, the inability of philosophy as a useful study, as its shortcoming, the value of education and practice, so the worth of learning in real life, purity as beauty, so purity as the sublime, something like that. Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't take too long. Do this quickly. Okay. Lizzie, yeah, it's mostly just synonyms, but there are different ways to paraphrase. So make sure that you're learning all of the different ways to paraphrase, okay, for the IELTS exam. Synonyms is one way of paraphrasing, and it's an important way of paraphrasing. Another way, Lizzie, to paraphrase are what's called antonym negatives, okay? So, for example, stay is the same as saying don't go. Okay, it's an antonym negative. Descriptive paraphrasing, Lizzie, is another way. So, an apple, it's a red, round, delicious fruit. Okay, so that's called descriptive paraphrasing. There's also grammatical paraphrasing. I have been to Paris. I experienced visiting Paris. Okay, those are examples of grammar paraphrasing. So there's grammar paraphrasing, descriptive paraphrasing, antonym negative paraphrasing, synonym paraphrasing, and using expressions as well. So I encountered my good friend at the store. I ran into my friend at the store. So also expressions, idioms. Okay, so, and you can use, and you should use all of those different types, okay? All right, so here we have these list of headings. We've gone through them. We've done some paraphrasing. Now we can look at the other questions, Angelo, to give you a full idea or a full response to your question here. So here we have a summary. Okay, so it says complete the summary using the list of words. Yeah, definitely this one we should read, or we should skim over quickly before we read the passage, because it will help us to understand the passage. I'm happy I could help, Lizzie. Philosophy teaches us how to reason, which in turn can help us deconstruct something. Students schooled in the precepts of reason are able to differentiate between an argument, which follows from the given premises, and one that does not and is something. Force of opinion has no impact on the something of the opinion. This is because forcefulness is the wrong something for the job of convincing someone of a viewpoint. In physical battles, the correct implement is something. In discursive arguments, it is something alone which leads to the truth. Now here I have all of my different options. I don't know the correct answers, so I don't read these. It's not useful for me at this point. And then here we have multiple choice. Okay. Now multiple choice, be really careful because all of these options are not correct. Only one is correct. So for multiple choice, we only read the question. So mathematics and reason are. This is going to be in the passage, this concept, and it gives me an idea of the passage. Okay? So mathematics and reason are. No, Lizzie, it's not necessarily. Paraphrasing is, yeah, okay. What differentiates philosophy from the sciences is that, okay. And then we're into reading passage 3. So, all right, so now we have some ideas about this passage a little bit more. And now we read, okay. Now there's one more really interesting tip about list of headings. So list of headings are the only question that you should answer while you read, okay. So list of headings is the only question type that you should answer while you read. Okay, all of the other question types you should answer only after you have read the passage. All right, but list of headings you answer while you read. Okay, Sammy, welcome back to being a member. It's great to have you on board again. All right, so here we go. So read and answer, and I'll show you what you do, okay, to answer these list of headings. So let's read this paragraph first together, and then we'll answer it. So there are two schools of thought when it comes to education. One side believes that education should give students tools for success in life, while the other side believes that education itself is an important goal. No area of study brings this debate to a head more than the study of philosophy. Philosophy, for those who belong to the practical side of the debate, is an utter waste of time. Philosophy provides very few tools for success in life, they say. A common question for someone studying philosophy is, what are you going to do with it? Those on the other side of the debate, those who value education for knowledge itself, can see that the study of philosophy has many important benefits. Okay? In the real test, Angelo, to get a high band score, you should read the passage, and that speed that I'm reading is a good enough speed. Welcome, Joan, to our group of members. Send me an email so I can hook you up with those exclusive videos. Okay, so now that I read this paragraph, okay, to answer list of headings questions, your step here is asking what the paragraph is about. So after you read each paragraph, ask and answer, what is this paragraph about? Importantly, be concise. That means state the answer in a complete and short way. Okay? So here's my example. What is this paragraph about? What is this introductory paragraph about? Okay. So I just read this, and now I ask myself, what is this about? There are two schools of thought when it comes to education. One side believes that education should give students tools for success. The other side believes that education is an important goal. So what is this paragraph about? Okay. Kyber, even though it seems like there are a lot of different ideas being discussed here, there's really only one concept that's being introduced in this paragraph. Yeah, so Janil says two different opinions on philosophy. I agree. One, or on education, right? One side that says, hey, let's give some useful tools. The other side that says, let's teach for the idea of teaching or knowledge. Okay, so two different viewpoints about philosophy. Okay, now this is where the magic happens. Now, find the list of heading that is the closest match to your response. Okay. So, according to Janil, and I agree with Janil, it's two different viewpoints on philosophy. Which one of these is the closest one to two different viewpoints on philosophy or education? I would say education as well, right? If we go back to that paragraph, you see that it starts with one side believes education should do this, the other side believes education should do that. Which one of these choices is the closest match to that idea? Okay. Janil says it's number 5, philosophy as the pursuit of knowledge and truth. I don't see that, so I don't see that it's two sides here. Kashirsha says it's number 8, a central debate in education. Yeah, it's the different perspectives, right? When you have different perspectives, you have a debate. So the correct answer is Roman numeral 8. So for all of you that chose that, it's the correct answer. So a central debate in education. What's the debate? One side says you should go to school to get a tool to be able to produce in life. The other one says go to school so that you can learn knowledge and information, right? So correct answer here for paragraph A then is Roman numeral 8. Okay, we get it correct and we move on. So that's the idea. That's how you do it. Okay. All right. It's very important that you get list of headings questions correct because they will help you with other questions in the passage also. Okay, now keep this in mind too, that if nothing matches, then you probably didn't understand the paragraph correctly or you're missing some point. So if none of the choices match, you either did not understand the main point of the paragraph clearly, in which case you should read the paragraph again, or you are not seeing the match, in which case you need to read the choices again with an open mind and more carefully. Okay? So here we go. Let's keep practicing this and you'll get the hang of it. You'll see what I mean. Okay. So next paragraph, paragraph B. The word philosophy derives from the Greek for love of wisdom. Just as it was in ancient Greece, it is those people who love wisdom, knowledge, and truth who study philosophy. However, we do not live in ancient Greece where people had slaves to do all of their chores, such as working in the fields. So what place does philosophy have in today's society? Okay, so what is this paragraph about? Okay, just hang in there, Janiel, and you will see, okay, what's going on. So what is this paragraph about? The word philosophy derives from the Greek for love of wisdom. Just as it was in ancient Greece, it is those people who love wisdom, knowledge, and truth who study philosophy. So defining philosophy as love of wisdom, defining wisdom as knowledge and truth. Okay. Sammy says it's philosophy in ancient days and current. I don't think so. I don't think that's what it's about. Kashirsha says the history of philosophy. I think we can be a little bit more precise than that, Kashirsha. Okay. So for this one, for paragraph 2, I would say it is the definition of philosophy, the pursuit of wisdom and truth. Okay. Kashirsha, origin of the word philosophy, right? Or the idea of philosophy. So would you agree that this is an accurate definition for this paragraph, or an accurate answer to what it's about? The definition of philosophy, the pursuit of wisdom and truth. Wisdom defined as truth, and knowledge. Okay? So I'm going to go back. Don't overthink these ones, students. Sometimes what happens is the candidates overthink the answers, and that's why they can't see what's right in front of them. Okay? So which one of these is the closest to the definition of philosophy as wisdom and truth? Okay. Janiel says, now it's 5. All right. So Janiel, now you get why I said just be patient and you'll figure out the correct answer, right? And 5 is correct. Philosophy as the pursuit of knowledge and truth. So this is indeed that definition that's given to us in that paragraph. Yes, Janiel, now 5. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. So in this spirit, we keep going. Okay, so 5 is the correct answer, definitely. Okay, all right. Next one, here we go. C, if philosophy teaches anything, by the way, sorry, this is a reading class, everyone, so make sure you're reading with me. Practice your reading, don't just listen to me, right? So read, and if you can, read aloud, okay? All right. So, if philosophy teaches us anything, it teaches the ability to reason. With reason, one can construct, analyze, and find faults in arguments. For example, if all men are mortal and Socrates is mortal, is Socrates a man? What if we change the question to, if all men are mortal and Socrates is a man, is Socrates mortal? Once a student is schooled in the ability to reason, he will see right away that these two questions are very different. As it turns out, the first is an invalid argument, while the second is very much valid. Perhaps the next question of the skeptic is, what is the value of reason? This is a very important question. Surely, if philosophy is all about learning to reason, then the ability to reason must be a valuable trait. Arguably, the ability to reason forms the foundation for all knowledge. Okay, so No, Lizzie, do not read aloud to yourself during the real test. The proctor in the exam will definitely stop you. So no, you read silently during the exam. It's just for home study. Okay. Angelo says, what is philosophy about? Angelo, don't answer that with questions. Okay. So it's a good point that you bring up here. Okay. So note, you should never reason with a question like what is. Okay. Rather, your answers must be statements. Okay, so paragraph 3. Angelo, try it again. Okay, so instead of saying what is philosophy about, give the answer to that question. So what is philosophy about, Angelo, according to this passage? Sammy says the important reasons for philosophy. Okay. Janil says to have the ability to find logic, what is right and wrong. Yeah. So here, the word reason isn't like what you're used to using, okay? So most of the time when you hear this word reason, it's like it comes from that, okay? In common everyday language, when you hear the word reason, it's like the reason I'm teaching this class is to help you with IELTS, right? But the fundamental word reason is a bit different. So think about the word reasoning. Okay? Reasoning means to logically figure out information. Okay? So after this class, definitely students, I recommend opening up your dictionary and look up the word reason and look at the full definition of this word. You'll be surprised what an interesting definition this word actually has, okay? In this passage, the word reason is used in a much more comprehensive definition than what you're used to in your everyday kind of speech in English, okay? So reasoning is logic. When we're reasoning, we're figuring out the truth through facts and information, okay? All right, so paragraph 3, philosophy is the ability to reason, the ability for logically figuring out right and wrong, okay? Reason and reasoning. All right, so which one of these is the closest match to philosophy is the ability to reason. Reasoning is to figure out information, knowledge, and truth. Okay? Which one of these do you think is the closest match? Lizzie says I, reason as the basis for knowledge. Janil agrees. Honey agrees. Yeah, it is. So this first choice is the closest match. Reason as the basis for knowledge, right? 1 plus 1 is 2. It's a very basic example of reasoning, okay? So if I have 1 apple and I have another apple, then I have 2 apples. That's your reasoning and that's your basis for knowledge. I'm not going to be able to sell you 3 apples because you're going to look at me and say, Adrian, you only have 2 apples. Okay, so... all right, so again, for C then, I would put in the Roman numeral I, number 1, and I would get it correct, okay? All right, so let's go for D. If an individual holds an opinion which is believed wrong or incorrect, it could be important to convince them of the right opinion. So if you think I have 3 apples, but I only have 2 apples, I have to try to convince you, right? There are a number of ways to attempt this. They can be intimidated, means threatened, belittled or bullied into accepting the opposite opinion. However, having a strong opinion does not mean the opinion is any more correct. Many people have strong opinions on all manner of subjects, but of course, strength of feeling does not correspond to validity, and it follows that someone who belittles another's opinion is not necessarily the one in the right. When 2 men engage in a fist fight over whose opinion is correct, the winner of the fight may not have the correct opinion, but merely the correct fighting technique. In any disagreement, the right tools must be employed. In a battle of brawn, the tool is strength. In a battle of wills, the tool is perseverance. In a battle of words, the tool is reason. When arguing with reason, facts of the matter are stated and conclusions are drawn from those facts accordingly. What is the idea of this paragraph, the main idea? So what is this paragraph about? Okay. So what is it about? Janelle, so that would be your discourse, right? So that would be your argument. Devansh says, this paragraph is about using the right tool for the situation, right? So if you're fighting with somebody with your hands, then having a fighting technique and being strong, those are going to be your tools. And when you're arguing with someone about the truth, then having the correct facts and reasoning will be the right tools, right? Lizzie says, the basis of truth, how to deduce the truth. Honey says, using the correct tools based on situations. Yeah, okay, all right. So which one of these is the closest match to using the right tool for the situation? So using the correct method, we can say, using the correct method to reach the desired goal. And there's one that's a very, very close match. Now, when you're practicing these list of headings, then sometimes you'll get a perfect match to what you're thinking. And using the right tool, Roman numeral 7, is correct here. And we can see it's the example that's given. So the example answer is usually one of the body paragraphs. And here it says D is 7, so we're definitely on the right track. Okay, we're definitely doing this correctly. Now I'm going, of course, slower than you will in the real exam. In the real exam, you have to go a bit faster, but these are the steps that you need to take. So let's do this for E. E. Reason is fundamental to almost every intellectual endeavor one can imagine, just as mathematics is fundamental to almost every scientific endeavor. Maths is the language of science, just as reason is the language of discourse and debate. Accordingly, just as society needs experts in mathematics, so society needs experts in reason. The argument should follow that as we all learn mathematics as children and young adults, so we should learn the precepts of reason. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? So now that we're on the right track, now that we know what we're doing, we're systematizing, we're getting comfortable with this technique, this strategy. So what is this about? Lizzie says, maths and reason, the debate. I don't think it's a debate, Lizzie. I don't think that I don't think that this is showing a debate or a difference between maths and reason. I think quite the opposite. Yeah, Kashirsha says the relationship between math and reason. Yeah, I would even go as far as the similarity between math and reason, right? So math is the language of science, just as reason is the language of discourse. So kind of the parallel between math and reason. That's how I would answer that. Okay, so the parallels. Okay. Okay, it's a similarity. It's important. So which one of these is the closest match? Which one of these matches most accurately to the parallels or the similarities between math and reason? Math is the language of science. Reason is the language of argument. Okay, so we've got Sammy saying it's number 2, the relation between reason and maths. Yeah, okay. And math versus reason, the differences? No, because it's not the differences. This isn't saying, oh, they're really different. It's actually saying they're similar in their own ways. So number 2, yeah, so Angelo, good correction. So be really careful with this kind of situation, okay? Be very, very careful. This paragraph is much more about the similarities than differences. Okay? So Roman numeral 2, this is the correct answer. Okay? Roman numeral 2, correct answer. We're on to the final paragraph. Okay, here we go. So let's do this. Let's finish up. Above all, philosophy is pure. Certainly, reason is useful in all areas of life, but that does not mean that philosophy's value lies only in its usefulness in the day-to-day. Philosophy is the pursuit of knowledge for the sake of knowledge. There's a beautiful human quality expressed in this. Every other academic discipline is knowledge for some empirical pursuit. For example, engineering is knowledge so that we can construct buildings. Chemistry is knowledge so that we can make drugs, and biology is knowledge so that we can stay healthy. Philosophy has no tangible outcome outside of the pure pursuit of knowledge. The only other discipline which comes close in this regard is mathematics. One is purity in numbers, and the other is purity in words. What is that conclusion about? So, what would you say that conclusion is about? I would say the author is saying that philosophy is beautiful because it is pure. Okay? Yeah, Sammy says the pure pursuit of knowledge, the beautiful pure pursuit of knowledge, the importance, the beauty of philosophy, says Lizzie. Yeah, Lizzie, Sammy, I think that both of you are saying pretty much the exact same as I am, just with different words. Philosophy is beautiful because it's pure. Yeah, okay, so which one of these is the closest match? So which of these answers matches closest to philosophy is pure, therefore philosophy is beautiful? Okay. Sammy says it's number 11, purity as beauty. Lizzie agrees. All right, when you have agreement among your answers, that's usually a pretty good tip that it is correct. Yeah, purity as beauty. So the purity of philosophy as the beauty of philosophy. So the correct answer is Roman numeral 11, purity as beauty. So in my answer sheet, I would now again simply put Roman numeral 11. Make sure the order is correct. Okay, XI, not IX. and then you'll get it right and you're done. Okay. So that's it. That's how you do list of headings questions. And again, once you practice this, you'll be pretty quick and you'll be accurate. Students who I taught this method to in the past and they practiced it a few times, they really got the hang of it. And then they sent me an email like, oh, Adrian, now I can get like almost all or all of my list of headings correct. And I understand the passage much better. So keep these in mind for list of headings. Okay. So just a quick recap. Number one is read list of headings before you read the passage. That's why it's given to you before the passage in the paper-based version of the test. So read them before the passage, okay? Paraphrase them in your head during your exam as much as you can, okay? Don't get stuck on them. Don't think too long, just as much as you can. Okay, then answer them while you read the passage. Don't answer other questions while you read the passage. Only answer list of headings while you read the passage. The way you do that is you finish reading a paragraph. You ask yourself, what is this paragraph about? You give a clear, concise answer. List of headings, it's only a few words for each answer. So your answers must be concise. They have to be short and accurate. Okay. Then choose the correct answer. All right. Now, Angelo, one more tip here. Be really careful not to just stare at the choices hoping that the answer pops out. It doesn't work that way. Think about what the paragraph is about on your own first, then find the matching answer. Okay? Answers in list of headings and in multiple choice, they don't just jump out at you. So the correct answer isn't going to stand up and say, hi, Liz, I'm the correct answer. Pick me. No, you have to think about it in your head, and then you have to match it with the right answer. Okay? So that's how it's done. All right. Okay, everyone. So that was a reading class for today. Great job. And again, you can find lots more practice exams, tips and strategies, videos, and interactive courses at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and glshelp.com for general IELTS. Our websites, that's where you want to go. This is our general one here. Click that big red button to join our premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Doesn't cost very much, so it's worth it. Academic, blue background, click this big red button here to join our premium package. I will be back in about 30 minutes with task 2 writing, example, and practice. Everybody will be able to join in on that class. So hang around and see you hopefully in 30 minutes. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria for now. See you shortly. Bye.